U.S. Defense Secretary James Mattis will arrive in New Delhi today. This visit is aimed to expand the defense ties between both countries. Mattis is expected to meet with Prime Minister Narendra Modi, with the Defense Minister Nirmala Sitharaman and the National Security Advisor Ajit Doval. Reports say that Mattis is likely to discuss the proposals to sell the F-16 and F-18A jet fighter planes to India. These planes are built by the American company Lockheed Martin and Boeing. Both companies have offered to assemble these planes in India. Both sides will also look to identify new projects for cooperation. Discussions over the American government's new Afghanistan strategy are also expected to be part of the agenda. This is the first cabinet-level visit under the Trump administration. And for more on this story, I am joined from the newsroom by my colleague and senior international correspondent, Ramesh Ramachandran. Thank you very much, Ramesh, for joining me. So it seems that India and the US are trying to find a common trajectory both in West Asia and the world.
Indeed, Daniele, when Defense Minister James Mattis arrives in New Delhi later today for a 3-day visit, he can be expected to discuss the entire spectrum of defense and security cooperation between India and the US, extending from the Gulf of Aden to the South China Sea, including the vital Indo-Pacific region. So on the agenda, as you said, would be the sale of defense items to India, namely the F-16 or the Guardian drones, the unmanned aerial vehicles, which will be put to use by India to monitor the activities in the neighborhood, especially in the Indo-Pacific region. Also, Afghanistan will be crucially high on the agenda, given as it does coming on the close heels of the Trump administration unveiling what it calls the South Asia strategy, in which India gets a more influential role in stabilizing Afghanistan. So all in all, it will be an eventful visit, and one hopes that towards the end of his visit there will be something substantial or tangible outcomes from his deliberations here in New Delhi.
And Ramesh, it is pretty undeniable that the United States needs to find another reliable ally, because its long-standing alliance with Pakistan is coming to terms with more and more difficulties and pressure. So do you think the US is courting, let's say, for perhaps a lack of a better word, India, in order to become their pivot, their main ally in South Asia and the entire Indian Ocean region for that matter?
Indeed, that would be a safe assumption or inference to make, Daniele. Over the last several weeks now, we've seen Pakistan's two principal benefactors, namely the US and China, both come around to India's view that Pakistan needs to be called out on its duplicity on the issue of terrorism, especially that targeted at both India on its eastern frontier and Afghanistan on its western frontier. We've seen when Trump unveiled his South Asia strategy, he specifically called out Pakistan for offering safe havens to terrorists, and that it cannot be business as usual. China, on the other hand, Daniele, most recently we saw China come around to India's view on specifically naming Pakistan-based terror groups such as the Jaish-e-Mohammed in the joint statement issued towards the end of the BRICS summit held in China. So clearly, the global mood is turning against Pakistan and probably in favor of India. It remains to be seen how India and the US jointly decide to contribute and collaborate on issues such as Afghanistan and counter-terrorism.
And Ramesh, what is the status of defense cooperation? What I mean when I say this, I mean they will talk about the possibility of assembling F-16 and F-18A. This has always been a bit of a problem because countries do not share willingly the technologies they have. So what is the status of the defense cooperation between India and the US? Is this something which could actually happen, assembling F-16 and F-18A in India?
Well, broadly put, Daniele, what India and the US are trying to achieve here is co-production, co-development of weapon systems and technologies. Remember, under President Obama, India was declared a major defense partner. What that translates to on the ground is still an imponderable. India expects more transfer of technology under the Defense Trade and Technological Initiative of India and US. But that's still a long shot. What we're essentially looking at is a possible sale of the Guardian drones for India, and also the sale of F-16, as you mentioned. So a lot of work remains to be done on the transfer of technology from the US to India.